3, 2. Hello and welcome to Season of War. Tonight I am joined by Ridge. Ridge, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
Doing good. This is the third night in a row of talking about Grand Clash. I can't get enough, honestly. It's such a good event. Great to have these, 3 nights of reminiscing. Hopefully we do have a fourth. Still hoping to schedule a recap with Oliver, who went 5-0 with Daughters of Cain. So hoping to do that at some point, but he's traveling the world again, so hard man to lock down.
Yep, you going no video tonight, or?
Oh, yeah, Ridge, you can't see me, it's okay, but the chat stream can see me, so that's the big one. So right. Ridge just gets a blank screen, unfortunately. You've missed
We definitely talked about all this before, clearly.
Yeah, totally prepared. What's up, Mark, in the chat? Want to say hey to everybody that's joining us tonight. Big thank you, first and foremost, to all our premium members who make this and all our videos possible. If you do enjoy our content, please consider joining the premium membership. It's the best way to support the channel. But we're not here for a battle report tonight. Again, we're talking about Grand Clash tonight. I guess, Ridge, why don't you just jump right into things and take us through your SERAPHON Thunder Lizards list that you played.
Alrighty, sounds good. First, I'll just go over a little bit of what Grand Clash is. An amazing event. I love it. I think you talked about it a bunch, and Carl as well. We went last year. It's just amazing. It's one of those large events that you love to go to, and you just because you play so many different types of people and so many different lists and so many different everything. It's just so fun. So going in, I just had a feeling like playing Thunder Lizards. Well, you guys all know what my big 3.0 goals I've been just really trying. I really want to try to go 5-0 with all 4 sub-factions of SERAPHON. So in Fangs and Draco I've done, and now Thunder Lizards, this is, for me, seems to be probably the easiest ones, because this is just, Thunder Lizards are just so fucking strong right now. It's just ridiculous how strong and underpointed some units are. So going into Grand Clash, I wanted to, try to play something that I think could do very well, and I know there was already going to be a lot of other Thunder Lizards, and it's just good into the meta, some counters, but that's kind of the basis of why I was playing Thunder Lizards. So I had a lot of different list ideas. I think the best version is still the one with the Skink Chief on Stag, the Engine, 2 Priests, Star Priest, and Slan, and then 30 Skinks, 10 Skinks, 10 Skinks, and either 2 Bastildons or Bastildon and Exudi in a melee. So I was playing that a bunch and different iterations of that, with different things. But I really wanted to play the 2 dragons that I made, and I converted, like with all the star, they kind of really fit with my army. So in the board that I made, I just really wanted to have 2 of the dragons up on the castles with the cool big wings, and I don't know. So this event really goes with hobby as well. So it's not just battle, like there's a full overall, which I tried to do, which I did do a little bit better than last year with that, but still didn't get the best fate scores or the best display, but they were kind of there.
So the battle points and BCP is still its own separate thing, but it is for the overall awards, like you said, it's one of 3 categories that go together.
Yeah, so the list I was running it's still somewhat similar to that, but instead of the engine, it's essentially 2 dragons. So it's engine, Cloak of Feathers, Curse, all that good stuff. The Slan being the general, For the Arcane Might, for the reroll cast, which I needed twice, he miscast twice this tournament, and I got to reroll that both times, so that was nice. And then same as so Star Priest, Skink Priest, Skink Priest, and then 10 Skinks, 5 Guard, 30 Skinks. So I brought 5 Guard just because of for Lumineth, Daughters of Cain. I tested with Oliver a bunch. We played some games, and this land did go down in turn 2, turn 3 if you can get at him, especially with Caliber and Teleport or Sentinels. When he goes down, it's a huge hit for the CP generation, but also just the board-wide mortals. So I just brought 5 Guard, just safer. And then 30 Skinks, and then I did bring the melee Bastiladon and the shooty Bastiladon, and then 2 Dragons.
Nice. I am. We'll save it towards the end, but I am actually really curious to talk to you about your list. Obviously, we chatted beforehand. I am very curious to hear some of your takes afterwards, based on your matchups, which we all know isn't something you can control. But I'm curious at the end to see what you think of your decisions and stuff like if this you found the Saurus Guard worth it or whatnot. But we'll save that for the end.
Yeah,
so we can
for sure.
Just jump right into games tonight. And you started Grand Clash last year quite infamously playing KO round 1, getting your Slan shot off the board turn 1, Croak shot off the board turn 1.
Brand new Croak when he just got his new random rules. It was first game of Grand Clash. This was a 6 game last year. So just pumped, ready to go, and sure enough, KO, Vortex, 10 Thunders, almost similar to what I played in this list. He did. And after killing all 5 of my guard, he did 9 wounds to Croak, and I rolled the 11 exactly. And Croak died turn 1 last year at Grand Clash. Then I went on to win my next 5 games, but I was, man. So pairing into KO, game 1 of this was a little bit of a flashback for me. I obviously was in a lot better and more confident position this year. Yeah. Just playing Thunder Lizards because I played all Starborn.
Much different meta too.
Yeah. So just playing into KO. So I was paired, and then I just playing the Ironclad, a lot of damage too. Still the Thunders and some other things that are damage 1. So it was shifting objectives. So I felt pretty good about that. Just putting the dinos on the points, and KO struggles as long as you can stay, so they can't drop outside 9 and on the points, which I did. My one Bastiladon literally just sat, just barely touching the 3-inch on the one side the entire game. I played a guy named Loic. He was a definitely veteran player. He's played quite a bit. I think he finished 8th actually in final PCP. So he won his next 4 games. So shouts to him. Great opponent. Was one of those games where 2 high level, we kind of knew both what was going on. He's played a lot of Thunder Lizards, so we were paired up beside you and Patrick as well. Yep. So it was funny being able to come over and harass you and tell Patrick I hope he wins. And
yeah, it was rude.
But he's played a lot of Thunder Lizards. I've played a lot of KO. So it was one of those, where we kind of both knew what was going on.
It's nice when you have that familiarity with each other's armies. There's not really potential surprises or whatever. It's just you both know what's going on, playing your butts off.
So turn, it was so I positioned so his Vortex, because obviously I've played it, he couldn't fit 2 of the Vortexes behind my army. So he could have put them in front or put 1, where he could have probably got 2 heroes and a couple things, but then he exposes himself, and so he kind of knew that. So he positioned in this back corners, which as you do, and gave me turn, which I knew was going to happen. Yep. I did my Ferocious Advance, got my extra point, got onto the points. He brought the big boat in the back, and then for the pretty much I think my first 3 games I was given first, and then he won turn and then doubled back. So he won turn 2 prio, did a double turn of KO shooting. Yep. Even -1 damage is still a lot of output. So I think he killed the engine in turn 2. And then I was able to just, again, get on the points. I knew that I wasn't going to smash. This wasn't going to be a game unless I won turn 3 prio, which I did my turn 2, got on the points, whatever, did that. And then turn 3, he won prio again. So he was able to just kind of stay in it and kill me. But my 30 Skinks in the middle, my 1 Bastiladon on the 1 point, he just couldn't get either of those points for the game. So he had the 1 point pretty much the whole game, and had good target priority, everything. But again, yeah, it was just not enough damage to push me off the points, and he didn't have anything to kind of get on the points. So we were just going for battle tactics in turn 4 and 5, kind of figuring out what was going on. I think it ended up being 14-6. So yeah, one of these events, like you need to like
differential being big.
Yeah, which you need to go get big points if you're gonna win best general or be up at the top. Yeah. So still was good, but yeah, all shouts to him. Like, he played a really good game for being in that position. Like, he was definitely in a tough matchup for sure.
Yeah, differential. We knew there would be like depending on what the final numbers were, we were expecting anywhere from like 3 to 5 5-0s.
Yeah.
So knowing that, yeah, that's where differential comes up big. If you're, to be able to compete, that's the top 8 tables going into round 5 all have a potential shot at being 5-0.
Yeah. Oh, and you can be 4-0 and be top of the pile, and you lose one game, and it's like, because it's differential. Yeah, if you got 18-2 or 19-1, you're not going to make top 10. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely, there are opinions about differential. The strong one that you and I and everyone obviously know is win-loss should definitely be the first. Should be come before that.
Differential's fine as long as when this loss is first, differential works as a tiebreaker.
Yeah, but still, even then, it's it just promotes absolutely smashing your opponents and trying to really make sure you're doing that to be.
Or if you're close to time and you don't want, and you're trying to, it can be a thing of not wanting the game to play out fully so that it stays close if you're losing or something.
Yep, and then exactly, and you won't get as many points, which we can carry on to my second game, and that kind of unfortunately feeds into that, and it's not a huge deal, but so yeah, that was a great game. And then second game was Survival of the Fittest. I was playing Vincent Pierre, work on my French a little bit. So he was playing Soul Blight with 240s of zombies, Manfred.
Buddy of ours we met last year. Him and the AOS Deech, they came down to Red Harvest as well.
Yeah, solid dude, man. Yeah, we chatted a bunch, and we've hung out before, and so yeah, it was one of the games where SERAPHON takes a bit of time in hero phases, and there's a lot of decisions going on, and he's pushing a lot of zombies, and just he has a lot of things going on too. So we were already both before the game kind of worried about time, not like to a point where it was negative for either of us, but we were just trying to be quick with what we're doing.
It was gonna be a slaughter of a game, a long game.
Yeah, and he kind of talked to me and said that as well, and I said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, man, like, let's just try to do as best we can, go quickly. So what did happen? So he gave me first again. So it's same. I think my first 3 games were all I was given first, and then got doubled back, and stayed kind of outside of ranges. And then I did it again, Ferocious Advance, as you do with the Thunder Lizards, and then move up. One thing I did forget though, and this was for me, I was like, dumb. For some reason I thought the Blood Knights came out of the graves, but they just come off the board 6.
Edge.
Yeah, so I definitely moved up too farther than I should. But anyways, so then turn 1 was nothing. Turn 2, he went prio. He brought his knights in like he should, turn 1, and then so turn 2, they kind of came up, and he tried to kill my Star Priest and my Skink Priest, who were there, but because of the charge, I couldn't make it all the way, and didn't finish off the Star Priest. He allocated 2 Blood Knights in, and then the other 3 into the Skink Priest. So killed the Skink Priest for sure, but I was able to pile the Star Priest away as my activation, so he could only get 1 or 2 in. And those things are like just wet noodles against Coalesced. 1 damage. The Blood Knights, they just 3s and 3s, like. But he did get the zombies like all right up in the Bastiladon, all in the middle point. So he took boom, put the 10 wolves over in the top right, but I had my 2 dragons in the top right. So I just, in my turn, just nipped the edge on both. So he put them on there, but I still held it. So he still got 1-2 more. Had a pretty decent turn. I did some damage back, but then in my turn, because the Star Priest survived, gave the 30 skinks on the left, which he didn't do too much damage to. Oh, this was one of the biggest mistakes that we talked about that he made was he piled in 6 with his zombies on the top left into the 30 skinks, thinking that he was going to do maybe a bit more damage to them than he would have. and just not realizing the damage that skinks do in combat because I obviously gave him the Star Priest buff. So he piled in 6, killed like what, 5 or 6, and then those skinks, like 20 of them attacked into him and killed like 30 or 20 something zombies.
Yikes.
So that was
no save, right? That's skinks are super happy about that.
And I was so I was 4s rolling 1s because I had Hand of Glory on them, 4s rolling 1s, and then 4s with 6s doing an additional mortal. So they do some mean damage to things without a save, skinks. Yeah. So did that, and then in my turn 2, I was able to finish them off. Kind of did what I could to the big zombies in the middle. Dragons killed almost killed the 10 wolves. So I was in a really good position in the middle and on the top. I was in all 3 actually. I was in a really good position. So I held all 3 points, killed the zombies in the middle. And then turn 3, and this took a long time to even get through all of this because there's so many attacks coming.
Zombies, skinks, lots of rolling.
Yeah, not even just the charges and we both have a ton of magic. It's just how many activations as well, right? And then he got, I didn't even talk about he got Vordry into the engine. Engine survived. Just a -1 damage, and he flubbed some of his rolls, because he rolled like 3 or 4 1s on the big damage attack. So either way, he survived, and then I had the Bastiladon there as well on a 1-up. So yeah, and then I ended up in my turn, bottom 3. Turn 3 prio. He wins again, and he takes it. So this is where I could have, and this one thinking moment that I had, I could have. So I didn't actually end up burning a point. So I went through a quick thought process. If I burn the top left, that kind of gives him incentive to just leave the point and then come over, and he'd be able to take the middle and hold 1 and get his battle tactic. Whereas if I left it, he would actually want to stay at that point, leave his army on the left side, and then no matter what, I'm going to hold the middle and the right for the rest of the game. So that was my quick, just what I was thinking. So I left it. He took the turn. Brought Manfred in, brought the zombies in, whatever, kept everything on the left. And then he brought or did he bring back another? He brought 20 zombies back. He rolled the 5 up, brought it back in the middle. So he held the middle point and the side point, so to score, and got his battle tactic, all of that. But then in my turn, I still had my engine, I had the melee, or the shooty Bastiladon, 2 dragons, Croak and the 5 guard were over here, and I still had 20 something skinks. Because the Blood Knights he charged into the skinks that previous turn, again, do nothing.
Yeah.
I kind of knew Blood Knights didn't hit hard, but it's just 3s and 3s, whatever amount of attacks, 20 attacks or however many it is, or not even 15, and 2 damage to 1 damage, it's just completely neuters them.
And if you can do mortals to them,
which
around them.
The skinks do in spades. Yeah. So and still I put the Star Priest, so he was still alive too. So the bottom of 3 was my turn. I didn't even engage the Blood Knights. I just retreated, just pulled out, held that point, cursed Vordry, popped Vordry with the engine. So I had engine, Bastiladon, both dragons, hero phase moved, and then auto charged, did broken ranks, killed the zombies. So by the end of 3, which again, this was quite a long time. The end of 3, I had both my dragons, Slan, 5 guard on this point, Bastiladon, and the engine, all in the middle. I had 20 something skinks and my Star Priest on the left, and then he had the 4 Blood Knights, and Manfred, who for some ridiculous reason just not playing Soulblade enough. I fell for the dumb trap of I charged the Bastiladon and the engine into Manfred, thinking I would just wax him because they would. And I don't know why in my head I was thinking the end of the combat phase you can teleport away, but clearly it's the beginning. So he teleported him back to the back corner, so he was pretty much out of the game, way top left corner. So then so I was in an insanely dominant position. The 4 Blood Knights, Manfred, and I think he had the Goroslav guy on 1 wound or something. I killed him. Actually, I killed him. So yeah. So and then this is where the shitty kind of part came up. So we had 15 minutes left for the round, and where we normally play in that type of commanding position, we would be able to not say okay. but not even talk out to where we would say, okay, like I do this, you do this, like this is how it would go. I honestly think if we had 15 full minutes, we could have easily just, I wouldn't even have done my hero phase. We could have just moved my guys. I've been like, okay, I scored this, do this. Okay, now your turn. We're gonna take 1 minute and then, or 2 minutes, whatever. And then in his turn, he just has 4 Blood Knights and Manfred. So it's like,
Yeah.
so in my head, that's what I was like, okay, this is easy. We'll definitely finish. But for some reason, like it's in the pack, like here
in the pack, it was, if there's only 15 minutes left, don't start another battle round. Dice down. So while you guys were at like the waning moments of the game, you weren't able to like, you know, start another round, complete the final 2 rounds, which would have been huge for you in terms of, you know, the differential scoring because of the
like
position you were in.
I would have scored 1, 2 more, all of the points with my battle tactic.
Yeah.
He would have struggled to get a battle tactic, held no points, maybe 1 point, but if he killed this, or he could have got the top left point.
Yeah.
But
So-
either way, that would have been 4, and then 5, it would have been a full table, and then I would have got full X everything on turn 5. So it was like one of those situations where it's like super nice guy, awesome dude, like good friend of yours, like, you know what I mean? And just a shitty situation. And there were a few people watching as well that were, you know, part of the tournament, and that's in the pack, like that's how it is. So I was a little upset. I'm not gonna lie.
But disappointing. It's not about that game. It's just you just know the impact it could have on the rest of the tournament and like standings at the end.
Exactly, which it did. Like I would have definitely finished multiple places higher if I would have got, you know, 2 or 3 more points, which I would have if we did to turn 5.
Yeah.
So again, Grand Clash, it's like the awesome tournament and everyone's having drinks. We're all having a good time. It's like, I'm not going to let, like, it's fine. Like that kind of, those kinds of things happen. And to be honest, it is somewhat of my fault as well. So I will definitely take part of the blame, because even in my turn in 2 and 3, I probably took more time than I should with my hero phase and some other like thinking things. So
You are a thinker,
one of
Rich.
those, I know that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I could have been quicker in certain things, knowing that this could have came up. But at the other end, it's just unfortunate that we're so used to in our meta and like in the States and all the tournaments in the States, we would be able to quickly play that out.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes, we would be able to like quickly play that out. So anyways, that was long description, but so I finished, I think it was 12-8 at the end of it. So that was
2 wins, but not max points yet. So I know talking to you, you're like, you were you knew that was gonna be a factor of like, or you know, final standings.
It's huge, yeah. Because when it's differential, you need like a 12 and a 14. I was not like, there are multiple 4-1s that were higher than me.
Yeah.
So and that's only because I 20-0'd both my 4 and 5. If I didn't do that, I would be like 8th or 9th or 10th possibly. So anyways, so game 3 was this was probably my favorite game of the tournament. I had flashbacks of LVO again, which someone came over and said to me, I can't remember, because I was playing Beast Claw Raiders, which
I think I mentioned it at one point.
It could have been you, yeah. So I played Russ Tanner, I can't remember his name, but he was playing a Blood Gullet Beast Claw Raider list, and he beat me at LVO for my only loss there. So I was having flashbacks of the Stonehorns not dying and me putting everything into them. But it was an absolute treasure of a game. So his name was Frederick, and just a super funny guy. Like, it reminded me of one of the Matt that I played from Red Harvest, just one of those younger guys that's just really funny, and like you kind of get each other's humor and you're laughing about everything. So it kind of brought me right back into like, oh my god, I love this game. Like, I love Warhammer so much and meeting people and playing games. So yeah, we were just joking around about shit, and I love ogres. Like, I really want to play Beast Claw. Like, I think they're an amazing army and very strong. But against this matchup, it was like, fuck, he's playing, you know, all multiple damage, all Moan Fang and Stonehorns into Thunder Lizards. So we were laughing and joking around about it pretty much the whole time about that. So, you know, it was funny, but
Does have some mortal wounds?
Yeah, which is what smashed me in LVO. Like, when I wasn't able to take a Stonehorn down, the 2 Stonehorns killed both dragons with just the charge.
Yeah.
But spiked that crazy, but still. So he was just like, I'm just gonna go, man, just get as many points as I can. Like, whatever happens, happens. Like, dude, like, that's probably smart. So he took first, put both stone horns down. So it's Feral Foray, 6 points. Again, this was another shitty point for him. Low model count on Feral Foray. So he put both his stone horns to my bottom left, where I had the melee Bastiladon, 5 guard, and then the Slan kind of hidden behind the temple, which was a good play. He wanted to get 1 point, so he would have more, which was smart. He did it. And again, it's very good, smart player as well. Like, that's all my games were players that, you know, they understood the game very well. So, and I found that, yeah, as you know, in Montreal, like at Grand Clash, they're good lists, but the players are really, very, like, they play a lot of Warhammer there.
Yeah, really good community.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, he kills the melee Bastiladon, kills like 2 of the guard, I think. And that, like, I fought him top bracket, like everything. I think he barely took down the melee Bastiladon. So in my turn, I had the decision to, do I fuck with the 2 stone horns down here, or do I completely avoid it? So I was in a position where I could do the run and charge of the skinks, which I did, put them up and with the 10 skinks in front of them and a nice screen in front of the 30. And they fully pumped into something. I hero phased and put the dragons fully on that side as well, and took out Mornfang to take his top right point. And then the Shooty Bastiladon was in my bottom right, and he shot at the Stonehorn that already had done best day ever. So he did best day ever with one of the 2 that came in. So I clearly was going at that one because I just knew he wouldn't be able to do best day ever. So I moved my engine and fully juiced him up, ready to charge him. But I somehow, with the mortals, like I did mortals to him, and I did on the way in. So I think he'd taken 4 or 5 mortals or something, and then did a few more with spells in the Realm Shaper because I blew up that piece. Okay. And then the Bastiladon double tapping actually took out the guy that I wanted to kill. Yeah. So I was in this awkward position where I could pile in my engine 3, get within the other Stonehorn, and it was juiced up, and I could have, like, dice, he probably doesn't die because it's only 1 rend. Yeah. And he could have done all defense because I wasn't within 3 to be able to roar him. So I was in one of these moments where it's like, okay, Ridge, don't be dumb. Don't go for the big kill. Like, you can easily hold back here. Still priority. But I somehow held it back and didn't pile in.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, which, you know, I always, like, I'll make those dumb mistakes and then I fight myself.
You are an aggressive player.
Yes, which that's one thing that over the last, like, half year or so I've been, especially with the dragons too, like, got so much better of a player, like, being held, and Thunder Lizards has taught me to do that massively. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't file in. We stayed outside 3, went to the dice. He wins priority. So I was like, fuck. Like, the reason I kind of wanted to do the pile in is if I lost priority, because if I win priority, then he can that engine will just kill him. So he wins priority. He goes in, kills the engine with the 4 Mornfang and the Stonehorn. He brings the other one up, kills the screen, kills one of the dragons. And then in my bottom 2, I surrounded, he killed the dragons with the other one. Sorry. He killed both of the dragons with the other Stonehorn that he had left on top. And then in my bottom 2, I juiced up the skinks, moved the Bastiladon, the Shooty Bastiladon, fully ran 11, shot and charged his Stonehorn, and then rolled. I needed, I think, like a 6 or something with the skinks to get them in, but I rolled an 11 with the skinks. So I was able to get a full wrap, 2 ranks around the Stonehorn, and him plus the Bastiladon, I did a decent amount in shooting, and I already wounded him a few times. So then again, I do this so much with the Bastiladons, is that I literally charged him in just so I could roar that Stonehorn, which I did, and then the skinks do way more damage because he can't do all defense. Yeah. So because he'd be on a 2-up against the no rend skinks. So one of the big brain play with the Basti, and then killed that, and then for the rest of the game, for turn 3, I was holding the top right, bottom right, top middle, bottom middle, and then he had the top left, bottom left. But I positioned my guard, I retreated them in turn 2, so I was able to auto run 6 to his top left as well. So I did that, auto left 6. So I had all the points except the bottom left. And turn 3 prio, I can't even remember if I won it or he won it, but either way, I just completely stayed on that side, and I just held more for the rest of the game and just slowly burned, like, the back 3 points. Yeah. But he did put up a big enough lead in 1 and 2, and I didn't get back enough points so that it wasn't a 20-0 or even an 18-2. I can't remember how many points I got, but it was still like, and then we kind of finished out turn 5, and he still was able to score some points here and there, like, because he had a 4 Mornfang and a Frostword and Stormhorn left. So he still scored, like, obviously just scoring points because differential, you just want points. So yeah, that was game 3.
Nice. So 3-0 after day 1. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's really all you can do is, you focus on winning games, you win them as well as you can, but it's, you can't do it all. Can't control it all, at least.
And this was, as Carl said, I think in his, we went out like decent Friday, and this was Saturday, so everyone's feeling it, but loving to just go out. Clearly after Saturday's games, we were getting rinsed. We were drinking a bunch and
several beverages.
Yeah, we got smoked meat poutines. We went out to like a nice restaurant. We ate so well, like I feel like every night.
It's so good there.
Yeah, and just awesome craft beer. Like it's just so good.
I said this to someone. I'm pretty sure that weekend I drank more than I have the previous year combined.
Yeah, probably. Like what? You don't drink too much, eh? Just when I come over for games.
Just casually.
Here and there.
Yeah, drank a couple beverages over
the
weekend.
me too. No, not at all. But yeah, we crushed a lot of beers for sure that weekend. So coming in Sunday was, you wake up, you get your Caesar in you or whatever you're drinking, and we went for breakfast and then came, and we knew the pairings the entire night. So I knew I was playing Nurgle. I knew the list. It's a really good list. So it was Be'lakor and Flies. Be'lakor 1 Lord of Afflictions and Flies, so the Pusco Blight Lords. I didn't know. We saw the guy that I was playing the night before in the pub.
Yeah.
Remember I told you when I was walking by, he was like, "Hey man," and then we chatted, and he was like, "Oh, fuck, I didn't know if I was playing you tomorrow, eh?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, like it's gonna be a fun game." Like, and when we started talking about lists, I was like, "Man, I love your list." Like, Carl plays the Flies, Mitch plays the tons of Flies, but I think Be'lakor is an amazing piece in that list. So yeah, it was, and I didn't know when he said that. I was kind of just like, "Oh, really?" I thought like that seems like a pretty not that bad against Thunder Lizards. But then when I got there Sunday morning, I had realized, once I had a couple conversations with him, he was a newer player. So that's why he kind of said like, "Oh shit, I'm playing you." So right away I was like, "Oh, it's all good, man. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're here. Like, it'll be a fun game. Let's whatever."
That's what happens when you win a couple GTs in a row.
Yeah,
that intimidation.
Well, it's just SERAPHON, man. Like, fuck. If I was playing a different army, I wouldn't be doing so well. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, and you could see with just in deployment and a couple things that when we started going through the motions, you can tell, like, he is a newer player, but 3-0, fucking huge shouts to him. Massive tournament. Nurgle's a great army right now, but still, he's played very well. But the big thing that the mistake he made, and he said he was thinking about it a lot, like with deployment and if he should give away first, if he shouldn't, because he was playing a 1-drop.
Looks like Jean-Francois is in the chat tonight too, so.
Is he? Yeah, awesome. Big shouts, Jean-Francois. Fucking congrats, man. I think it was his first tournament too.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so huge first tournament ever, going 3-0 on Saturday.
Yeah, that's even. Such a great community. Justin, who I played round 2 there, it was his first tournament. He went 4-1 with Skaven. Like, it's such an awesome community there. Like,
I gotta
great
chat
people,
to that
great players.
I love that the 3 Rattling Guns and the 6 Jazales. Like, that's sweet. I didn't see him on the weekend.
A classic, Ridge and Carl list from
Yeah. Not Carl, me, because Carl never ran the Rattling Guns. I was always a big fan of the new supplement.
He ran the Jazales though. And Thankful was on Bone Ripper. But between the two of you, I was so prepared for that.
It was like a mix of those two. Yeah, you've been touched by both of those quite a bit. But yeah, anyways, back to it. So yeah, Jean-Francois, big shouts, man. So the one critical mistake, he'll probably tell you in the chat as well. He didn't measure out, so he's a 1-drop. So in this position, you know that Bastiladon is doing 3 damage to Chaos Demons. So we talked about it before as well. I was like, you know, that does an extra. He's like, yep, an extra damage. So he's like, okay. So when he was kind of picking where he's putting everything, he put his flies down, then he put Bellicor down. So just pointer, which we talked about after, like you just want to measure from that line, 24 inches plus my move. But then the Bastiladon can get run, shoot, and charge. I can auto 6 it. So technically, like he can move 11 inches and shoot 35 inches, which is so much. So essentially what happened was he gave me first. He dropped his army, and then I was able to keep the Bastiladon within 29. So I just needed the 5-inch move, and then I could shoot him. In hindsight, I probably should have just even done bring it down right away, just because I'd know he can't, even if he best days ever, he can't do +1. And I'm pretty much going for that anyway, no matter what. So he moved up. He gave me turn, which was smart, getting the points. But yeah, so the Bastiladon, I shot down Bellicor turn 1, essentially is what happened. So, you know, giving all the buffs to him. I did +1 to hit, reroll 1s to hit, 6 to wound, do an additional mortal. And so...
Double tap.
I might have not got the Hand of Glory off. It might have just been 3s, but still, 3s, with the double tap, exactly. So took down Bellicor. So right away, it's like one of those moments where it's like he's, you know, you get defeated, not fully, but that hurts turn 1. So yeah, he went down, and then he'd won turn 2 prio, or else it would have been, or what am I talking about? Never mind. He did his turn, so I was top of 1. So he did his turn. I did make a redeploy with the guard on the right, which was a pretty big redeploy. So I think I only rolled a 2 or a 3 or something, but it was a 9-inch charge with his 4 flies to get into like my core. Yeah. So he rolled a 3 or 4 and then rolled it into a 7 or something and failed. On the left, he got in, but my bottom of 1, I made actually a huge mistake. I didn't measure, I told you about this. I didn't measure my dragons that they could clear on the left. So because
in the hero phase move.
In the hero phase move, I had them back too far. So because of that, I couldn't get them in to the left point like I wanted to, the bottom left point. And then I did best day ever on my engine, thinking I could get him into the left and kill the flies here. But then, of course, the time I do that is the only time in the tournament. I failed the 3-up with my 1 priest for the run, shoot, and charge. Failed it with the other priest. Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure, Jean-Francois, when I was going through those motions, like how many things like that for me in my head, I was just like, fuck, that happened. Oh my God, okay, I can still do this. Oh shit, I didn't do that. So like all those things didn't happen, and then I luckily summoned 10 Source Warriors from my engine. So I was able to take that point at least, because it wasn't within the 3, so I could, outside of 9, be on the point. And then my melee Bastiladon was in the bottom left. So I ended up at least holding the bottom left, so I was still like got my points. So he won turn 2 prio, and then got into almost like everything, stuck in a bit, but my engine was still safe, my dragons were still safe in the back, and then my 36 were still safe. So because I had them all kind of screened, when he got into me in turn 2, when it became my turn 2, all 3 of those, the engine auto 6 ran over top, the 30 skinks went to the left and killed everything on the left, the dragons went up the right and killed the stuff on the right. So yeah,
Seraphon and dragons killed stuff.
Yeah, that's it. And it's without, Bellicor would have been a huge piece. If he had to take him down, he could have then on his turn, activated, and I wouldn't have done nearly as much damage. Like a lot of things could have happened differently, position wise too. But yeah, I essentially wanted to just overload the one side and then eventually just deal with the flies. Yeah. And that's what Mitch has pinned me before, and like Mitch beat me in the one little RTT we did, where I just didn't keep my things survival. Like my engine died. I let him get into my engine. Yeah. So I did have a little bit of like, in playing Carl, I had a bit of like,
a bit more experience against
that matchup. I've played it, so like I knew I just needed to screen it and just keep those safe until my turn, and then I'd be in a really good spot. So yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, good, awesome game, Jean-Francois. Again, like, you're brand new into the fucking tournament scene, and you were 3-0. I don't know if did he ended up losing this 5th game, or
I'm not sure
if he went 4-1. Either way, it's still an amazing showing.
Yeah, so that puts you 4-0.
I was in the 4-0, so I finally got to 20-0 here. So we were chatting about it the day before. Like, I was so like, I had my points were so low that I was like, I need to 20, like I need to 20 both of these to be like in the shot, like have a good shot at even top 5, which I didn't even. I finished top 6, I think. So then, yeah, it was funny because once we started realizing, after that, we all went for beers like in between and had a bite. And our buddy Olivier Gandoui, so we were watching the pairings the whole time.
Yeah.
With you, you weren't there either, Jordan. We were watching your pairings because you were playing the cheater, and we were watching the pairings and like who's going to play who, what's going to happen.
We were all very close in points. The 4 of us. There were 4 of us.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't want to play you. Like, we don't want to, like, so I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. So then Olivier's game finished first, and he finished at 63, exact same points as I did. So I was like, oh, that's okay. Like, I'll play Olivier. I've played you so much with Deepkin. Yeah. I know his list. Like, so sure enough, yeah, after everything happened, I was playing Olivier. So him and I have played a bunch a couple years ago with Team Canada when we were like in practice and stuff. So we know, and Olivier's a great guy. Like we chat when we go to the local events. He came to Red, or did he come to Red Harvest?
No, he didn't.
Oh no, he didn't.
He didn't end up.
But last Clash, we were hanging out and having beers and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so Game 5 was Battle for the Pass, and I was playing. So his list was, he was playing Morphan, and he had 20 thralls, 10 thralls, 10 thralls, 10 reavers, 10 reavers, 2 sharks, and 2 Namarti heroes. Yep. Is that right?
Yeah. And then the Eidolon of the Sea as well.
And the Sea, that's right, in the Sea. Which again, against Slan with a reroll, like that's normally really good in a lot of the games. The D3 -1 save, like there's a lot of things you can do. But yeah, the first hero phase, I was just like, okay, that's on an 8, Slan, Unbound. Okay, that's on 8, Slan, Unbound. So it's just like, fuck. So
that's a big reason why, just looking at the Eidolon from a Deepkin perspective, why I haven't, really dove into it so much is because of like matchups like that. Thunder Lizards, like if you're relying on a spell to help with your, help fight against save stacking, and you fight someone who can like unbind spells, still a 7 to cast or something re-rolling that can, someone just rolls a 9 and they unbound it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has the reroll. I like the reroll, like the cheeky reroll on him too.
Helps,
but again,
still,
you said you roll an 8, you're not rerolling that, and then I'm +1 with a reroll. It's like there's still a very good chance it's getting unbound.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great game. So like again, I haven't played Olivier. Actually, I haven't played him in person. We just played in TTS like for practice. But so I know, and he's very good player, like with measuring. So this was another one of those games where it's very high level. Like we both know exactly what each other's armies do. We know how far movement is. We know what things shoot, where everything goes. So again, it was nice that we had that. Like it's nice to have that, but at the same time, it's like you can't fuck up. Like you make a small mistake here or there, like you're gonna get burned for it. But again, playing you so much with Deepkin, I didn't forget about the like shooting the closest, like things like that. High tide. So he was in a position where, and this is what, like as we were playing, like I didn't know if he was gonna pop the reverse, like flip the tides. So as we were going through it, he did reverse the tides. So he was fighting first turn 2, and he, the craziest thing, which I haven't mentioned yet, is we're both 11 drops.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, both 4-0, both want to go at the 5-0. We're both 11 drops. So we roll off, and I beat him by, I think I rolled a 4 and he rolled a 3. So I was dictating turn, and
you had choice for once.
Yeah, which 11 drops, both of us were like, we have an all tournament, like there's no way. So yeah, the whole time it was like, I put this here, okay, I put this here. And it's like deployment actually takes way longer than usual because we're each doing 1 drop. But as he's deploying, I'm like, okay, I know he's making his little thrall reaver bunker around his boats. He even put down like the other boats, and it was like, if I win turn, this is where they are. If not, I'll pick them up. Like again, we both know the matchup so well. It's like, yeah, absolutely, put him down. Like that's cool. So he's putting everything down. The only last thing was I didn't know where his sharks were going, and then he put him like super far away. And as we're deploying, I'm quite sure, I don't know if Olivier's usually in the chat, but I'm quite sure he knew that I was going to be giving him first. Like,
Yeah.
obviously. So I was in a position too. I deployed well. So in his turn, he did what you do, and he just kind of kept out of my ranges. He had Aether Wings as well on his list, so he held all three.
And he did reverse the tides in the end.
He did reverse the tides, yes. So he held the 2-2-1, so he got his 5 points with his battle tactic, got 7. So my turn 1, and then here is like, okay, I'm gonna do something very similar, which I did. I can't remember. I probably aggressive expansion, I think. Killed the Aether Wing, moved my 1 Bastillodon on the point, killed the Aether Wings, moved the 10 or whatever skinks were left, and the melee Bastillodon on this point. Positioned my 3 Ferocious Advance, so I had the Bastillodon on the point, the engine right up the middle, and the 2 dragons just sitting right behind them, and then 30 skinks beside the dragons. Everything kind of nicely packed and screened. Got my extra point. So he knows right away. It's like, if we play this game, I'm gonna get an extra point each turn. So
Your monsters.
This is exactly. So this was the most crucial role, which for us, we both knew what was happening. I think the whole time. Like someone like a newer player might not have thought of this right away, but
because like he's not exposing himself turn 1, and since you went bottom of the round, and we're also conservative.
Yes, I'm in a position where I really wanted to win this priority because I knew I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Because then if I win priority, I give it to him. He's not in a position where he can threaten me with his thralls and the reavers and anything. Like they're going to do some damage, but he's going to have to expose himself, or he's going to stay back again and just do whatever. So I'm sure he was thinking the same thing. Like fuck. Like when I won the prio, and sure enough, I obviously gave it to him. Yeah. So he was fighting first and top and 2. I gave him the turn. He
was too far to really capitalize.
Yeah, the Sharks were able to kind of get in and shoot and do whatever, but he's not going to go into just throw his Sharks away.
Yeah.
And then the 3 Reavers and the Thralls were too far to do anything in the middle and the right. So he played it, again, somewhat conservative. So then in my turn, bottom of 2, this is where I made a somewhat of a risky play, which looking back, I failed one of the 3-ups for the run, shoot, and charge. So I didn't know if I was going to give it to the skinks and I was going to throw them up and in, or I was going to give it to the engine and I was going to throw him up and in. So I went for it. I threw the engine. I did best A. I took broken ranks on 10 Reavers that were like beside the Sharks on the left, which in hindsight was not a smart play. So when I did it, I thought of the redeploy, but I was like, even if I do, I'd still 3. He rolls a 6. It's a 9-inch charge and +1. You know what I mean? I can re-roll, whatever. So he, of course, that's exactly what happens. So yeah. On the right side, my Bastillodon shoots, kills the 10 Reavers on here. So he just had a bunch of thralls. And then in my second turn, I'm obviously just commenting the little Thrall Master that brings them back, because which I know playing you so many times, like just the engine plus the D3 Mortals.
The Soul Render, you mean?
The Soul Render, sorry. And then the D3 from the Temple, because turn 1, he had to keep him by the boat, because he didn't have room with deployment. So I don't think I killed him turn 2, but in turn 3 I did. But I was able to finish the 2 10 squads off, so he couldn't bring D3 plus 3 back. But anyways, yeah. So I moved the engine up, I moved the melee Bastillodon up. They're both just outside of 3. He redeploys the Reavers, rolls the 6, moves them back. So it actually was an 8-inch charge, because I don't think he had enough room to get them all fully with it, to make it a 9. So it was an 8-inch charge. I moved the dragons then to the other side, to the right side. Hero phase move, then moved them. Or no, I didn't hero phase. I just moved and then shot the breaths at the 10 Reavers on this side. So the dragons and the Bastillodon killed the 10 Reavers. So all he had left was 10 Thralls, 20 Thralls, the C and the middle, his middle back point, and then the 2 Sharks and the 10 Reavers and 10 more Thralls, which were pretty far back in his point. So he redeploys. I roll, do all my shooting with the skinks, kill the 10 Reavers, do all the shooting with everything else, and come up to the big charge, and I roll the big charge. I got bombed it. First one, boom, nice. Roll the 10 or something. So I was like, holy fuck, that could have hurt if I would have failed that with a reroll. So he got in, the melee Bastillodon got in. I just put the melee Bastillodon into the 2 Sharks, just like
I am
it's
up.
just it's so good, just so dumb good having a 1-up save monster just charge it into anything, and it's like, okay, cool. This 165 point Bastiladon is going to fight you forever unless you want to retreat and not be able to shoot.
Yeah.
I guess until turn whatever in Deepkin, but either way, engine rinsed the Reavers. I did some damage to the Sharks. Was on my point fully. Boom, boom. And then yeah, that was that. And then it was turn 3, I think, and he won prio. So it's like I gotta take it, obviously, just to kind of do whatever he can. I scored big again that previous turn, 8, I think, and then I burned his left point. So it was like I had 2 dragons and my Bastiladon on the right point. His thralls couldn't get at me, so it was like he could at best hold his own objective and then try to do some damage. But so at that point we were both just like, fuck, like that's, yeah, like it's rough, because, and this is the whole talking point of the game, is like, do you tide flip there and then in that position not go far enough up that if you win the double, or do you just do it and then hope for priority, or you don't flip? And like, I know I briefly chatted with you about it. We haven't talked too much about it, but
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, Under Lizards is a tough one, and like you said, the one up save monsters like Deepkin's gonna struggle with that, especially if you throw a Mystic Shield on them, or even just all out defense. Like,
yeah, they don't even need it.
Tough to deal with, and especially the thing, like you were highlighting in your round 2 with him, like the thralls aren't long range, so you have to either, in something like that on your opponent's conservative, you have to overcommit or risk not being able to leverage your fight first, which isn't always the worst thing. You don't always have to be fully in combat on that turn. But yeah, that's tough. Again,
Yeah.
he really just because he doesn't, like, at most Ren 2, and just on the 2 sharks, which isn't a ton of Ren 2.
No, only
So
2 of them as well,
He's
right?
really
Yeah.
banking on the Eidolon of the Sea, and against you, who has magic.
Doesn't do much, and his profile too. Like, I eventually charged my skinks in.
Yeah.
I felt how the power of the thralls against the skinks, that's for sure. Fuck, he killed like 21 of them or something on the hit back. I fully juiced the skinks up in my 3, thinking I would just take his home point and just smash the thralls. But with the 5-up ward, and he was +1 save, I think, from something cover. I can't even remember. Yeah, I killed like 7 or 8 or something, and then the 12 or 13 whatever back just fucking killed so many skinks.
Yeah.
But at that point, I had enough there that there were like 7 or 8 left that they just sat there, and I autoimmune them and take 2 turns to kill them. Then I'm still on all the points, and then it was like a table pretty much after that, because I had engine, Bastiladon, 2 dragons, and the shooting Bastiladon that were, yeah. So again, it was a game. He was in a tough spot. Olivier knew it right away. Like, we both knew it, and it was a kind of a high level, just kind of thinking of how it was going to go. And that's what was nice in this game. It was very easy to be like, okay, so this is what happens at this. Yeah. And then turn 5, we were just like, okay, so like your table, like this is what happened here. So we were able to finish in time anyways. But like if it really came down to it, yeah, we were easy enough to just be able to figure it out. So yeah, at the end of the day, it was another 20-0, and I was feeling good just for the 5-0, because like I said to you, and I put on my Twitter post too, like, that was my main goal. I want to get the 5-0 with Thunder Lizards so I can just stop fucking playing them, because I'd been practicing with them a lot, and I was practicing a lot for Worlds, because we were supposed to. I was going to be playing them for Worlds. Still, I was in between a few different lists, but so I've had the reps in with them, but yeah, I'm just done with playing, especially just because they're by far the strongest faction right now, like into different metas, and possibly the strongest army in the game. They probably are. Seraphon just has a tool for everything.
Yeah.
And if you're a player that's played them a lot, which I've played so many games, there's just nothing you can, like, there's just so many synergies and so many things you can just do. And if something happens, like, okay, now I have to pivot, I can do this though. So yeah, so I'm pumped to get to start playing the Kodos Claw, and I already got shout out to Clay Beast Creations. I was already chatting with him. I got some cool knights coming in, those sweet ones with the Velociraptors, and the like skink guys on top. So I'm gonna start playing that, and yeah, but yeah, I don't know, the tournament was just amazing, so fun. After, obviously, the awards were amazing. Tough crowd there, like doing all the player shit.
Yeah,
Joe and Dayton and James. It was so fun, man. Yeah, drop pod. Joe and the drop pod. Just they're so fun of just like everything. Any person goes up. Jesus. Patty's goes up. He's got long hair. Just like everything is just so fun.
Great community there. Great people that came in for it as well from a distance. So
big time. Yeah, it was fun seeing a lot of faces that we've seen around. Fred and Nick, like our buddies that like Fred came and hung out with us all night and everything. Like, just so many people that it's just you don't see these people for a year and then you do, and it's just so good. It's so fun. So yeah, again, any new players, anyone that's ever scared to go to a tournament, just go. If you see a person with a tough crowd shirt on, you're in luck. They're going to be super nice. You see a person with Season of War, same thing. Always come up, always come talk to us. Always like, everyone's there to have fun. Everyone's there for the same. We're all geeks and nerds and
hang out with the community, meet people that love the same thing. Yeah,
man. So it was super fun. Can't wait for next year. Other than the few little tournament things like the win-loss record and whatever, but those are small things. And again, huge shout out to especially Alex as well. Like just an absolute beauty, huge gem.
Lots of them. Also, Pierre-Luc in the chat did a ton of work helping to organize and prepare for the event. I know.
Yeah, Pierre-Luc, big shouts. I know we've been chatting a bunch on Messenger as well. So yeah, big him as well. He put the swag bag together, which was pretty dope.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. So in the end, you got your 5-0. It's 3 out of 4 sub factions of SERAPHON. Even the hardest one for last potentially.
Yeah. Oh, I've been brewing up tons of ideas, tons of lists. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm excited.
Nice.
Who knows? Me. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to say, any thoughts on your list in hindsight? Now I know beforehand, the double priest was a question and the Saurus guard were questions.
Yeah.
How did you feel about them having made the decision to go that route?
The Saurus guard in this tournament wasn't huge. Like I didn't really need it, but I didn't play Doc or Lumineth. So like I said, that was only for Doc and Lumineth and some Stormcast.
Could KO have killed your Slan if you didn't have them?
Good point. Yeah, actually, no. Because it's one rend. I guess if you got a lot of mortals, but no.
One rend and you put him in the temple.
Minus two to hit, save. Plus 3 to save on turn 1, and then plus 2 for the rest. Like, I don't think he can.
Minus 2 to hit with Lookout Sir.
Yeah, that's the old Garrison. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I think just the either minus 2 rend with a lot of shots, or the amount of mortals that come out of the bow snakes or the sentinels are the things that can take them down. So yeah, that was just like I took it for those matchups, didn't play those matchups, but it didn't hurt my list that much. It was the difference between, like I said, a triumph, which I actually got a triumph in like 2 or maybe even 3 of my games, which was insane because I was 1990.
Yeah, I was 1995 when I got the triumph once. It's Pat.
Yeah. There were actually a lot of 2,000 point lists there. That's where on our meta, it's like 1960 or die.
Yeah. Everyone's going for that triumph, but depends on your army, right?
Yeah. The other point, though, which was I was an absolute psychopath for not running this forever, which I did at first. I ran the 2 skink priests. Then I switched to running 6 pterodons and this pterodon chief. And then for a while, I was just running 1 skink priest. And I don't know what I was thinking, because as soon as I started testing with it again, it's like, this is just ridiculously better than...
the consistency and reliability.
Unbelievable. And there's so many benefits to having it.
Another priest is great.
Another priest, so having him with guidance in the temple. So every turn, another 4-up CP. So 3 4-ups, 1 5-up for CP every turn. The utility of having someone else in the temple. So the times you want to use Slan outside the temple to turn himself to a monster for run 3, or the times you just want to keep the slan further away, you can deploy them in different places because you got that little priest that can blow up people from the temple. So that's another utility. The third utility is the biggest one, which is another chance at the 3-up +1 save, run, shoot, and charge, which is...
There's been so many times where I know, even in our games, where you're like, oh, you fail it, and it's like, oh, it would have been so critical. It would have
there goes my
been huge
entire
if I
plan.
had it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that engine would have done this would have done this. Like, as a SERAPHON player, you have a map of, like, it's so many fucking things going on that you...
It's not Stormcast, so it's only a 3-up and gives you 2 chances at it. So it's still failable, but much more likely, right? Much more reliable.
Yeah, so for that alone, that's, I think, why you take 2 of them for sure. But yeah, other than that, he's the most perfectly pointed 80-point +1 to hit command ability and 3-up plus a prayer as well.
Yeah, like
just fucking bonkers.
In the hero phase, +1 hit for shooting and combat, and look, oh, you can double tap it too.
In an army that can utilize it in ways that other armies can't, like with the Basilica and double tapping, or things that shoot and fight, which Seraphon have a couple things that are really good at both of those.
Fair balanced.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it was fun. It was awesome. Just great time. Can't wait. We're going to so many events this year, so I can't wait to just see all the Tough Crowd boys again, and everyone, like all the people at all the other tournaments. We're going to Slaughter. I'm going to NashCon. We're going to I'm going to the castle. We have Red Harvest here. We got the Season of War GT for everyone here. Insert plug, Jordan.
Yep. I'll be baiting August, so yeah. Me and Carl are doing Slambo next month.
You guys are going to Slambo. I'll be in Mexico with the lady.
Nice.
Just pumped.
Awesome.
Big Season of Warhammer coming up.
Yep. Unintended. Nice. Well, Ridge, unless there's anything else you want to say?
No. Cool. Again, I think I said it. Just come to tournaments, everyone.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Looking forward to seeing you, Drum D, down at Slambo. Pumped for that, and everyone that'll be down there.
Fucker. Make sure you give Grumdy a big hug. Sorry I can't make it, Grumdy. Maybe I'll send my black Season of War hat with you guys to give to him. I'm just kidding, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's the only one that is in existence.
It is the only one currently.
But yeah, that's about it. Ridge, thanks for jumping on, telling us about your path to victory. Again, like Carl, we hadn't ever actually had a chance to talk about our games really. Like,
no, not really.
We're just having too much fun.
Yeah, which we usually do, but yeah, way too much going on. Too much fun.
Cool. Well, again, that's it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And that's about it. So we'll see you soon in another battle report.
Peace.
Have a good night.